can't have it all. You got to make sacrifices. You have to choose. That is simply not true. Scrolling social media, I can't say that enough because it still kind of blows my mind. 884 hours in just 2 years. I've gotten back. Woo! And we are so back, baby. Welcome back to the No Ceilings podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening in yet another impactful week. I had a really awesome time putting this one together for you because I know that this had the greatest impact on my life. I cannot sing this episode's praises enough. So when you're really passionate about things, you really get fired up and behind it. I'm excited to share. This podcast is titled Adding Time to Take Control. Adding time to take control. People say you cannot have it all. You can't have it all. You got to make sacrifices. You have to choose. I'm here to tell you that that is simply not true. I do not subscribe to it. It's what I used to believe. It's no longer what I believe based off of the changes that I've made over the last 6 years. And I want you to make similar changes so you can feel the same way, because the truth is you can have it all. You just need to have enough time in order to have it all. And I'm going to go over some philosophy because I love philosophy behind this stuff. I'm going to go over actual tactics, some hows in which you can obtain it all, add more time back into your life. And we're going to drive it home with some more messaging that hopefully you'll enjoy and you'll take and you make some meaningful changes in your life. So I'm super excited to share it with you. Question for you as we start out, and of course it's rhetorical because we're in a podcast setting. But what if I were to tell you everything you want out of life, health, wealth, peace, is on the other side of a few decisions to add time back into your day? What if I were to tell you that? Would you sign up? The answer is, of course, you would sign up. Where do I sign is what you would say. Now, the reason why I can be so convicted about this is because this is who I used to be compared to who I am now is vastly different. And a huge reason why is because I've made meaningful changes into adding more time back into my life and then folding that into positive decisions that have allowed me to level up. Who I used to be is a guy who woke up at 7 a.m. I would go to the gym, I would go to work, I would go out and party, and then I would go and start that all over again. And what I would find is I'd be chasing my tail pretty much all day, every day, where you're just constantly playing catch up and trying to kind of get your bearings and get back your feet with under you. And in extreme cases, or in my case, what that led to is just a whole bunch of anxiety. Now, the drinking probably didn't help, but when you don't have control like that, and when you're constantly just chasing your tail and you're not really sure what direction you're going, you're having to run really, really fast. If you know what that feels like, it's not a great feeling. That creates a ton of anxiety. That creates a ton of uncertainty. That creates a lot of lack of vision for your life. And then you're like, where am I going with this thing? Fast forward to where I am right now. And this is going to come off as braggadocious, but it's not meant to be. I always like to say that, if you're going to hire a personal trainer, you'd want to get advice from someone who's in really great shape, right? Not someone who is super overweight. You're like, I want to look like them. So this is the most wealth that I've ever had. This is the most peace I've ever had. It's the happiest I've ever been. It's the best I've done in my career. And it's the most present I've been as a husband and as a father in my entire life. So if I have you and you're saying, this is interesting, I am interested in learning about that, let us dive into how to add more time in order to take back control of your life. Now, when you're thinking about adding more time, there's the gurus out there that are going to give you all of these hacks. And what I always like to start with first, and I preach this a lot, and I've mentioned this on this podcast before, but in order to gain back more time, all you have to do, not all you have to do, but one of the things you have to do is simply add more time into your day. And you might be thinking, yeah, if I had the opportunity to do that, I would. Do you have a time machine? Do you have a hot tub time machine? Doesn't need a time machine. You just need an alarm clock. So what I'm talking about here is simply adding more time in your day by waking up earlier. The time in which you are waking up right now is not early enough to get the results that you want. Now, caveat, everybody's different. Everybody has different lives. Everybody has different responsibilities. Everybody has certain things they have to do at night. You got to get a certain amount of sleep, right? You're not a robot. And I don't know what time you wake up currently, but from personal experience, the way in which you can make the greatest impact is to just simply wake up earlier. Yes, you need to wake up earlier. Let's dive into the why and let's dive into the how. So I currently wake up at 3:45 in the morning every single morning, Monday through Sunday. And the reason why I do that is because all distractions are totally gone, out the window, not there. It's me and whatever I'm taking on from 3:45 until the world starts, which is around 7 a.m. for me. So 3:45 to 7 a.m., complete freedom, complete clearance, no text messages, no emails, no kids, nobody, contact me to do something. It's just all solo by myself, right? And with this extra time, you don't want to just wake up super early and then throw on Friends and Nick at Night and catch up on some Friends episodes. That's not what you want to do. What you want to do is you want to attach the number one thing that you're trying to attack on the year, on the quarter, on the month, right? So we all have our goals. We all are striding towards something. We all want to accomplish something. You wrote it down at the beginning of the year. You said you wanted to do this. You said, this is where I want to head with my life. This is a mile marker that I want to achieve. Whatever that is what you're doing in that free time in which there are zero distractions whatsoever. That's how you make serious gains towards that goal. And I'm a living proof of that because it's unavoidable when you have no distractions and you wake up that early. You're going out and you're doing the thing. Now, what I am, the window of time that I'm currently in, I'm taking on physical challenges, as I've talked about. So think marathon, think Ironman. That's what I'm currently going towards. And I have started waking up at 4 a.m. This is probably my third year, going on 4 years of waking up that early. And the number one thing I'm going for, again, is physical challenges. So when I wake up, I'm actually doing my workouts right at 4 a.m. What that causes is never miss mentality. I don't have to say, oh crap, something snuck up on me at 4 a.m. or someone dropped a calendar request on me at 4 a.m. or I had to pick up my kid from school because they weren't feeling good at 4 a.m. or I ran into traffic and I had to cut the workout short. I don't have any of that because I'm up before the world is up and I have no excuses. There's nothing that I can come up with that would say at 4 o'clock a.m., I can't go out and do this workout. Now, what that does lead to is a crazy amount of consistency. So right now, I actually just look back on the calendar. We did the math. Today is my 501st day in a row of getting at least a 30-minute workout in. 501 days in a row. And I will say that majority of those workouts are serious workouts, right? Like over an hour long, really attacking whatever sort of workout it is that day for a triathlon or for a marathon training. And that's 501 days in a row. There are people out there that make an excuse that after 3 days in the gym that I got to take some time off because something comes up. Think about the most extreme circumstances. I got an early flight, right? I have a flight coming up to go to Michigan. I think we leave at 7 a.m. Normally, what you would do is say, I can't make that workout because we got an early flight. Maybe I'll make it in the evening when we get there. But then when you get there, you're tired, you're groggy, you're on a plane all day, you don't want to work out, you skip the day. I never have that because there's no planes that leave at 4 in the morning. So I'm able to get the workout in. I'm able to shower up, hop on the plane, and I feel great. Now that leads me into the next piece of it is you really get a great running start on your day by waking up earlier like this. So before, the way that I used to do it is I wake up at 7 a.m. and I'm having to rush along with the rest of the world to just catch our tails and get after it and hope something good happens. And we're just constantly just running to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. When you wake up this early, you're not, shaking off the grogginess. You're not shaking off the brain fog. In my case, you had exercise. You're fully awake. You're fully ready to go. You're showered up. You're ready to attack the day. You have a running start towards things. And then the day starts to happen, but you're already rolling, right? And everybody's kind of catching up. You lead the way. Everybody has to catch up to you because you started way earlier. It'd be like starting a track meet and getting a running start before the gun goes off. Gun goes off, everybody gets out of their blocks, but you're cruising. You're already at like cruising altitude. The speed is already in the mix of where you need to be. So getting a running start on the day pays dividends because your day has momentum and your day has a rhythm to it, as we've talked about in the past. So if you can start with that running start, gain that momentum early, gain those wins early, then you have a certain rhythm and an attitude and a speed about you that allows you to not have to chase your tail. You're just moving to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing with a lot of ease. Now, you can do this with anything, right? So if you're thinking to yourself, Corey, I'm not a workout warrior. It's not a big need for me to go out and run a marathon. Whatever is what you can attack in this window of time. So it doesn't necessarily have to be at 4 a.m., but 4 a.m. is what I found. It gives me enough time to really get a running start on the day. But whatever time it is, you move up the time frame and you create that extra hour. So if you wake up at 7 a.m. right now, let's just go through an example. I wake up at 7 a.m. right now. I'm going to move my alarm clock up to 6 a.m. I got a full hour every single day. So that's 7 hours a week. And it's really important for me to get better at golf. Let's just say you're in the season of like, I want to become a scratch golfer. I want to go out and golf and feel really confident about my stroke. You know what you could do is you could wake up at 6 a.m. You could spend the first 30 minutes at 6 a.m. watching YouTube videos or studying up on different golf criteria or golf expert advice. You could read a book on golf. You can spend that time on no distractions at all and just get read up on golf. And then what you can do after that is you can go out to the driving range if it's light enough where you live, or you can go to a simulator, or you can get something in your backyard, put some lights back there, and you can hit into a net. And you just spend another 30 minutes and working on golf. And when you do that over a long enough time horizon, guess what happens? You did 2 weeks of 7 hour or an hour a day of getting read on golf and practicing your swing and practicing your approach and working on putting and working on chipping. When you go out to the golf course next, all your friends are going to be like, holy crap, you're golfing great today. And nothing really changed in your life. You didn't have to replace anything. You didn't have to remove something from your family environment or something from work in order to get back at golf. You created more time. So they said, you can't have it all. I can't do golf and be a dad and be a great husband and have a career. You actually can. Just wake up earlier, move the alarm earlier, and you'll create that running start to your day. It doesn't have to be golf, it doesn't have to be working out. Whatever it is that's missing in your life, it could be writing, it could be I want to become a great skateboarder. I don't know. Whatever you want to do, you can create that time. And in that window of time when it's early and you have no distractions, that's where you insert your plan of what you're trying to strive towards. And whatever it is, again, the next time your friends see you and your family see you, they're going to like, wow, you're on fire. I didn't know you got so good at this. Look at you go. What an accomplishment. Where do you find the time? They're going to say stuff like that to you. So move the alarm clock earlier. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, and I hear you, I hear your thoughts, Corey, it's way too early. Corey, I need my sleep. Corey, I need my 8 hours. Don't do that to me, brother. Or man, I've tried that in the past. It worked for a day or two. And by 2 p.m., I was exhausted. Couldn't do it. So let's take a pause break here. Now, you're not going to go from 7 a.m. to 4 a.m. tomorrow. That is going to create an extreme amount of burnout for you. Now, if you want to try it, I commend you. Go after it. Maybe get some extra caffeine and just wean yourself into it and, burn the ships. Let's do this thing. But what's recommended is every 2 to 3 days, you move the alarm clock 15 minutes earlier. You got to acclimate your body. It's similar to like traveling overseas and getting used to the time zone over there. You don't want to totally burn yourself out, because if you can't do it over a long period of time, you're going to end up getting discouraged and it's going to start pulling from other things in your life. And then you're going to say to yourself, okay, I really can't have it all here. So every 2 to 3 days, you're going to move the alarm clock back 15 minutes. Don't go extreme with it unless you're, crazy David Goggins type, like I'm doing this thing. I commend you if you want to go after it. I love that mentality. But what the experts recommend is every 2 to 3 days, 15 minutes earlier. Now, if you're saying, I'm going to try it, but man, I struggle in the morning. I'm not a morning person, right? Like you give yourself that title of like, that's not me, which is a whole different story for a different day. But, the titles we give ourselves is who we live up to. So maybe don't give your title of I'm not a morning person, because that's something made up. You could be a morning person tomorrow. You could say I'm a big morning person. Anywho, I digress. Let's get back on track. Here's how I do it. Now, I'm not an expert, but I have woken up at 3:45 in the morning for the last, like I mentioned, 3.5, 4 years, and it's been without fail. And I haven't ran into any issues. There could be nights where I drank alcohol. There could be nights where maybe I don't get a great sleep score. There could be nights where we're in a different country. We could be on vacation. I'm still waking up at 5 a.m., 4 a.m. Sorry. You can ask my wife. She'll vouch for me. So here's how I do it. Here's what I've found works for me. So what I do is I set my alarm clock for 3:45 in the morning, and my alarm is on my phone. And I take my phone and I put it on the exact opposite side of the room from me. So I sleep on one end. All the way on the other end of my room is my phone, which is plugged into my charger, which has a alarm set for 3:45 in the morning. And so when the alarm goes off at 3:45 in the morning, I am required to get out of bed, feet on ground, walk all the way over to the alarm, turn the alarm off, get my phone. Now, what that does psychologically for me is it moves of me getting out of my room and getting into my workout. And number two, I didn't have the chance to hit snooze. I didn't. The snooze temptation is really, really strong when you're horizontal. When you're sitting right side up and you've taken a couple of steps and now you're up for the day and that alarm is blasting in your face and you're on the totally opposite side of the room and the bed is far away, psychologically, you're probably not jumping in bed. At least I'm not. I turn the alarm off and I start my day. Now, you want to remove as many obstacles as possible for yourself in the morning. So what I mean by that is the night before, because I'm working out, I lay out my workout clothes in my office. I lay everything out that I'm going to be working because I don't want to have to think about it where I'm like all groggy at 4 a.m. trying to like figure out what I'm going to wear. I take that obstacle away. I lay out all my clothes. I pack all my bags of like everything that I'm going to need for my workout, right? Like goggles, swim cap if I'm swimming, my watch and all that other stuff, or basketball shoes if I'm playing basketball that day. And I pack that all into my bag, so I don't even have to think about it. Not going to forget anything. And then I set out my supplements in the kitchen. So the supplements that I take in the morning, they're all set. They're all ready to go. They're in the same spot. I got my shaker cup. I'm ready to roll. And all those decisions were taken for me when I was fully awake the night before, not in the morning when I'm trying to figure and stumble my way through the house. But the big key is to remove those decisions that you have to make in the morning and put your phone all the way on the other side of the room. Give it a shot. Now, if you do sleep with somebody, me and my wife sleep in the same bed. You got to run this by them. I think that's actually what really helps me out, to be honest with you, is just the adrenaline of waking Sky up, because she is not a person to F with when it comes to her sleep. So I jump out of bed because I know if that alarm goes for too long, she's going to be an angry bear about it and be like, what the hell are you doing right now? So put the stakes high, raise the stakes up, put it all the way on the other end of the room, get that adrenaline pumping early. That's what really helps me out. And hopefully you can implement it and really help yourself out. But again, 15 minutes every 2 to 3 days, and then eventually get to that point where you create all of that extra time for yourself. And then with that extra time, actually do the thing that you're wanting to do. The number one thing that is standing in the way of you and the person that you want to be, put it in that block of time. And it's impossible. There are no excuses that can be made of why you can't hit that goal when you allocate that specific set of time to do it. That's what's really served me well. Now we're talking about removing or adding time to regain control of your life. Adding time to regain control of your life. A major one, a massive one that has served me very well is removing distractions. So again, putting labels on yourself. I've always kind of labeled myself as a bit of an ADD squirrel. I'm a high energy dude. I can get distracted pretty easily. I'm a sales guy, and a flashing light is, I'm just a bit of an ADD squirrel. So distraction, I'm very susceptible to distractions. Everybody is, but that's the label that I put on myself. Now, there is one major distraction in your life currently, and that distraction is in your pocket. Right now, it's vibrating. It is your cell phone. So did you know some statistics? The average American in America spends 7 hours and 4 minutes with screen time a day. 7 hours and 4 minutes of screen time a day. If you're just talking about a day, what do you have? Like 12 hours, 13 hours of that, 7 hours and 4 minutes is spent with screen time for an average American. That's just the average. That means that there's plenty of people above average. That stat actually blew my mind. I remember looking at that stat and being way lower. So we are starting to slide in the other direction. Now, this podcast isn't for the average. This podcast isn't for the person that's going to fall in that category. This is for the person that wants to go against the grain and level up and find something new and gain more out of life than just living in the average. So be below that average, but it's 7 hours and 4 minutes. You must know that. That's for American people. Now, Gen Z, poor Gen Z, they're coming up. Their average is at 9 hours of screen time. Now, they're much more familiar with technology than maybe the older generations, the boomers and the Gen Xers. But Gen Z is at 9 hours of screen time a day on average. Now, you're talking about distractions. These screens were designed to be distracting. Now, this isn't all cell phone. So this isn't me saying that everybody's on their phone for 9 hours a day on average. This is screen time, right? So it can be computer. We all have jobs, right? So if you have a job and you're in front of a computer, that adds to that time. Tablet, cell phone, of course. This is like all-encompassing number. In terms of social media, because that's what we're getting at here. You know where I'm heading. In terms of social media, 2 hours a day on average is spent scrolling on social media. 2 hours a day. I didn't expect that number to be as high as it was. For others, I much higher. Hopefully for a lot of people, it's lower. When you're dealing with the averages being at 2 hours a day, I'm sure for certain people it's lower. But having 2 hours a day be just solely allocated for scrolling social media, we've all scrolled social media. It's like mind numbing. You sit there and you doom scroll and you pick your head up and you say, oh, where did that time go? Just removing distractions is massive, but we're talking about 2 hours a day scrolling social media. Now, me personally, going back to me and what has served me well and what I've been able to do as far as removing distractions to add more time to take back control of my life, I've been off of social media since March of 2025. I've been off of social media since March of 2025. I made the conscious decision to delete all of the apps, and I have not been back since. So just doing the math, I was probably in the average range, maybe even in the upper echelon range of scrollers. But let's just, for simple math, say that I was scrolling 2 hours a day back in the day, back when I had social media. 2 hours a day was spent scrolling social media. I can't say that enough because it still kind of blows my mind. That means that over the last 2 years, I have been able to save myself in doom scrolling and time wasted 884 hours that was not allocated to scrolling social media aimlessly. 884 hours in just 2 years, I've gotten back into my life. Now, what that works out into days is I've gotten back 37 total days back into my life just by simply deleting social media from my life and my cell phone. If you ever say to yourself, man, I would do that thing, but I just simply don't have enough time, I'll give you 37 days. I'll give you 884 hours over the next 2 years so you can go out and accomplish that goal. Get proficient at golf. Go find religion, spirituality. Become a better parent or a better husband or a better wife, or go out and take on a physical challenge like what I'm doing. I'll give you 884 hours to do it. You would take that in a heartbeat. All you got to do is delete your social media. All you got to do is delete the social media. I know it's easier said than done. I know there's some positivities with social media. Like there's things that I miss out on. I can't keep up with some of my, friends as much. Like I'll find out every now and then, like, oh, so-and-so is having a baby. No way, they're pregnant. That's crazy. Like I'm definitely not in the loop. I'm not as connected to some of the people I don't live or aren't in my like immediate circle. So there's some downsides to it for sure. But I've just found that social media was something that was majorly distracting for me. I was posting on social media, I was posting content, and I would tell myself, I'm not consuming, I'm just going to post. But what would happen is I would get my little report at the end of the week and would say I'd average 7 hours of phone time on my phone. And that was a little bit scary, right? Like, that's a lot of time on my phone. I got two small, impressionable kids, 9 and 6 years old. Not only am I taking time away from my kids by just mindlessly scrolling social media, but I'm also setting an example for them of like, hey, here, when you get a phone, this is what you do. You get really distracted. And I'm on my phone enough. I'm on my phone because of my job. So I do a lot of texting and calling and checking emails and checking Slack messages. So I just made the conscious decision that I cannot be on this. The other thing that really freaked me out is we did a social media detox, and we said, you know what, let's not do social media for one full week. Let's just get off of it. And I had never done that since I was 16 years old. I just didn't know it was, let's rock it out. What I found was it happened without me thinking. So many times I would just pull my phone out. So no matter what, if I was in traffic, if I was at a red light, if anything had to do with waiting at all, without even thinking about it, subconsciously, I'd pull my phone out and I would open it up, and then I would go to the social media app without even thinking about it. My brain was already like, I'm bored, social media. If I was in a line of any sort, right? Like if I was getting a sandwich and I had to wait in the line, then I wouldn't even think about it. It would just, I'm getting this out of my phone. I pulled out my phone. I'm going to social media app. Oh, the app's not there. And that really freaked me out because at that point, I realized I did not have control over some of my decisions. And I didn't love that for myself. I didn't necessarily remove social media because I wanted more time. But one of the outcomes is it's created so much more time by removing distractions. So if you want 37 more days out of your year or out of your 2-year window, or 884 more hours or 2 hours a day to do the thing that you want to do, delete social media. Maybe try it for a month. Maybe try it for a week. See how you like it. And if you love it and it's something you can scale up, you got 2 hours back into your day. But don't look yourself in the mirror or complain to others and say, man, I don't have enough time. I can't do that thing. I would do it, but I can't do it because I don't have enough time. Do you understand? I got kids. I got X, Y, and Z. I got a job that I got to work X amount of hours per week. You have time. You just have to make the decision to remove social media. I'll add 2 hours back into your day right now. That's what the averages say. So remove distractions, create more time. So imagine the window of you're now waking up earlier, right? You created 2 hours by waking up earlier. Then you also deleted social media. You created another 2 hours. That's 4 hours every single day that you've now created, that you've allocated to yourself to regain back control and be proactive and go out and attack what you want to attack. It's an amazing thing. Now, when it comes to saving time, this one's going to be more philosophy driven. And this is just on my heart, on my mind. When it comes to saving time, my advice, or one of my pieces of advice, is make a commitment. So you can actually save time by doubling down on your commitments. So what does that mean? So I think about people in their careers a lot. And, we leaving COVID and people going remote and, just the transition with AI and everything that we've been doing over the last couple of years, it's been kind of a crazy job market and people have gotten really mobile. And I am in the mortgage industry and I pre-approve people all day long, right? Like, hey, you're pre-approved to go buy a house. And when we're going through the pre-approval, we're going over their work history. And, I'm just a guy in the industry, but what I found is people are not at their jobs for very long. They're at their jobs for 1 or 2 years and they're gone, or 6 months and then they're gone and they're bouncing on to another thing. Let's go over your work history. Wow, you worked at 3 or 4 places over the last couple of years. Now, that doesn't mean that you should just stay at the job forever if it's not fulfilling you or giving you what you need, or maybe you're getting a competitive offer that is really going to help out your family. I'm not faulting you for looking for better career paths and better career opportunities. But my main message here is when you're not committed and when you're 1 foot in and 1 foot out with anything, doesn't have to be your job, that creates a lot of clutter upstairs. That creates a mindset that is really difficult to scale. If you don't know if you're going to be there for a long period of time, then it's really hard to focus on your future. What you're focusing on is just your day to day. And when you focus on your day to day or the task at hand, with no real future in mind or one foot out the door, you end up half-assing it and you can't get to where you want to be and you waste a lot of time. The brain clutter really holds you back. It'd be like staying at a hotel room and us being like, hey, we want you to decorate that hotel room. Like, really make it your own. Like, make it so, like, if you had some people over, you'd be really proud of your space, and it brings you a lot of peace, and it's functional, and like this hotel room is like your living space. You'd be like, I'm not doing that. I'm not spending the money on decorating this hotel room. I'm not committing anything to this hotel room because I check out in a week. I'm not going to do that. And you're going to just have all the stock stuff in the hotel room because you're not going to invest in it because you hadn't made the commitment to staying in the hotel room. You're leaving in about a week. Hopefully that analogy drives home. But I think a lot of people are in that spot where they are looking for grass to be greener on the other side, and the grass is greener where you water it. And a lot of people have trouble scaling their mindset and going to a 2.0 and 3.0 spot with their companies because they're just looking for something better. And then what they'll find is they have the uninformed optimism, and then they'll have the informed pessimism, and then they start the cycle all over again. And then we're starting somewhere new. So it's hard to scale up your mindset. It's hard to scale up your income. It's hard to scale up your professional development if you're constantly on the move. So make a commitment. Same thing with your relationships. Make a commitment to your relationship. If you're in a relationship with a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or your mom, dad, brother, sister, cousin, like someone that you're in a relationship with or a friend, and you're not fully in that relationship because you're just like, you're testing it. You're going through a test right now. They've shown you some things that you're not necessarily sure you want to scale up. Then you're going to half-ass it, and you're not going to invest the time, the money, and the energy to level that relationship up. You're going to keep your defenses up, and you're going to say, yeah, I would get you a really awesome birthday present, but we just started dating and I'm not necessarily interested in that. But on the other end of that awesome birthday present, maybe it's reciprocity of her coming back to you and doing something amazing for you. And you guys scale up your relationship to something that maybe you didn't even believe was possible. Now, where this adds time is like you're not constantly moving from one thing to another. You're not starting and stopping. You're scaling. You're creating depth. You're moving to the next level. I think making a commitment is a huge thing that's impacted my life, that has allowed me to create more time in my life. When you have the security and the knowledge knowing that you're in the right spot and you have a future with the spot that you're at, not only is it a great thing, but it allows you to be intentional. It allows you to narrow things down and not waste time thinking about other things. That's really helped me out in terms of narrowing my focus. And when you're at a place that you love, and when you're with people that you love, and you're doing things that you love, it's really easy to scale, and it's really easy not to waste time. If you're not in that position, it's really easy to hop on social media and do some scrolling, right? Because you're who cares about the future? I'm not even sure if I'm going to be here tomorrow. Let's dive into more time-saving pieces, right? So something that has really served me well, and this is just kind of how my brain works in the first place, is systems, standards, and processes. I say this to a lot of the bankers that that are on my team, is we have, in some cases, mentality of like, I'm just going to take on the day as the day comes to me. I'm going to take on my week as my week comes to me. I'm going to fly by the seat of my pants. When there's something there, I'm going to do it. When there's not something there, I'm not going to do it. Very reactive approach to your week. Now, that happens when you don't have systems. That happens when you don't have standards. And that happens when you don't have processes. I always describe it as like freehand drawing art every single day, right? Like you're going into your day and you're painting a Picasso via freehand, and you're like, let's see what happens here. Like every day is going to be a little bit different. It's hard to scale. It's hard to save some time. You deal with a lot of waste. When you don't have systems, standards, and processes. The systems allow you to scale. Now, when we're talking about adding more time in, we are talking about scale, because naturally, when we created more time with waking up earlier, and we created more time by removing distractions, and we created more time by being intentional and making a commitment, we're going to want to scale up. We're not going to want to just keep doing the same thing that we're doing right now. So you're going to want to scale up. The way that you scale your life up in all aspects of your life is you create these systems and standards and processes, and just know that things naturally become more complicated with scale. So you have to have these. you can't move to level 2 and level 3 and level 4. Like when you see those CEO types or the person who has the family that you want, the type of wealth that you want, or the type of peace that you want, you just can't scale to that level from just from free-handed at every single day. You have to get really intentional about your systems and your processes. Now, there are some things that I do without fail, and I'll share some of those things. Now, keep in mind, a lot of this is career-based and family-based and physical-based, but just to kind of round out who I am, again, I have a wife. We just celebrated our 9-year anniversary, kind of lost track, 9-year anniversary. I have 2 kids, a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old. And then I also have a career, and I also been taking on physical challenges on top of a bunch of other stuff. And we have an amazing, successful podcast that you're listening to right now. So I need to have systems, standards, and processes in order to get all of those things done and pack it into a window without driving yourself crazy. So here are some daily habits that I do. So every morning, as we discussed, I wake up at 3:45 in the morning and I work out for an hour to an hour and a half. Now, after that workout, we shower up, and then I go ahead and make the kids lunches. I also make the kids breakfast as the kids are waking up around 7 a.m. in the morning. In that time also, I'm replying to emails before the kids wake up, and I'm sending out like some messaging to my team that goes out without fail. Then we do the lunches and the breakfast, and then we get them out the door and out to school. Now, when I'm in work with my systems, I'm doing 25 dials per day, every single day without fail, 25 dials ringing the phone. I'm doing 5 partner reach outs. A big part of my business is reaching out to real estate partners. I am doing 1 in-person meeting every single week. That's pre-planned from the previous week. That's usually also with a partner. I send out a Taco Tuesday email series every single Tuesday to all my partners. I send out a Friday loan update to all the loans that I have in process. They get a Friday loan update of what's going on. I do a Monday huddle every single week with my team. I have 3 one-on-ones every single week with my team, a different person every single week. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I do gymnastics and basketball drop off and pick up for my kids, and they go from 4 o'clock to 8 p.m. It's a pretty gnarly schedule for them. And then every Sunday, I do a podcast. I do a bunch of other stuff. I'm not going to list it out here, but the point is to drive home. I have systems and I have processes. I don't come into my day saying like, what are we going to do today? Let's see what happens. Let's get surprised. This condenses my day into something that is manageable and scalable, and I do it without fail, so I don't have to guess what we're going to be doing today. We're going to take it on with a lot of intentionality. And then the last note to make mention of is time mending. I can't talk about saving time and being intentional with your time and using your time valuably without talking about time mending. So there's a gentleman named Ed Milet, one of my favorite people out there in the world. He's all about self-development. His book, The Power of One More, is the one that really changed the trajectory of my life. He deserves a lot of credit, and you need to go out and read the book. Incredible. Now, in the book, he does mention time mending is what he calls it. And essentially the concept is, instead of creating a to-do list and doing things in a 24-hour day, he breaks things down into 3 chunks of his day. So his day, like mine, starts early. I think his starts at 5 a.m., but he has his first day. So he says he packs 3 days into one day. His first day is from 5 a.m. to noon. His second day is from noon to 4. And his third day is from 4 to whenever he goes to bed, 10 o'clock. Okay, so he has 3 total days all crammed into one. And what I do is I embody that as well. And I create a to-do list, a physical to-do list that I write out on my desk every single day. So I have one to-do list from 4 a.m. to noon. And some of the stuff is already built in, so I don't write it down, right? The standards that I just covered with you, I'm not going to write that as part of my to-do list, but I am going to write some of the other stuff that I need to do on the day. I have the list in front of me and I'm checking it off. I'm checking it off. And then when I make it to 12 to 4, I throw that piece of paper away. That list is done. And then I create a brand new list of all the things that I need to do from 12 to 4. And then from 4 to 10, I'd be lying to you if I told you I made another list, but I do have certain things that I need to accomplish, usually family related, from 4 to 10 p.m. And that's my third day. The third day is less intense. The first 2 days are way more intense. And essentially what this does, he compares it to running a race, right? When you make it and you see the finish line in sight and you're close to the finish line, you start pumping and getting closer and closer and closer to where you need to be. That's what this does. It condenses your time. It moves your time into a shorter window, and you have the less relaxed feeling of like, I got all day to knock all of this stuff out. It creates urgency. It creates a pace in which you're like, I need to get this done before noon. And then when you rip that piece of paper out and you create a brand new day at noon, it totally flushes out what happened in the previous window. Now you can start brand spanking new. I got a brand new day. Now, what happens is if you do that over a long enough time period, you end up just crushing it. You crush people. People ask you, how do you get it all done? How can you have it all? And it's just by simply writing it out, giving yourself a time-bound target to knock it all out in, and then starting fresh and brand new on your next day, and then doing the same thing. I do that every single day of my work week. I don't do it on the weekends, but what it leads to is a ton of productivity. And I'd be lying if I said it's not one of the major things that have helped me over the 6 years since I've discovered it and read his book. So can't talk about time without talking about time mending. Shorten the window, make it compressed, create some urgency and some pace, and you'll just start seeing like goal after goal after goal fall off the list. Now, just to tie a bow on this, and I hate talking about myself in a braggadocious manner, but it's to drive the point home on making small changes with your time to take control can completely change your life for the positive. So from who I used to be to who I am now, I'm in the best shape that I've ever been. Cardiovascular, physically, there's the physical challenge side of my world. It's the oldest I've ever been, but it's the best shape that I've ever been in. I've never had more wealth than I have right now. We have a second home in Michigan. We have a beautiful home in Arizona. Not to talk about my accounts. The accounts are looking good. We're putting money away. I'm in a down market in the mortgage market. I've made two of my largest W-2s I've ever made over the last 2 years. And this is when the mortgage market is not great. And it's just because of some of the decisions I've made with time. I never missed a kid event. I went to two basketball games, one soccer game, took them to the movies yesterday. Like we mentioned, we go to gymnastics and basketball every single week. There's a school event I'm going to tomorrow. We went to a couple school events last week. I never have to. I'm blessed with the opportunity to have some flexibility in my career, but I never miss a kid event. I want to be there at all of them. I got the best rating that I've ever gotten at work. We have certain ratings. I got a rock star rating last month, and this is just me doing some reflecting when talking about the time management piece. And it's the happiest I've ever been, the most fulfilled I've ever been. It's the best my marriage has been, just laying everything out there for you. And it feels awkward to do, but a lot of what drove this podcast was the run that I went on a couple of days ago. I just was like flooded with gratitude and being thankful. And, the thought right after that is like, you've earned this over the last couple of years. And the reason why you've earned this is because you've made a lot of intentional decisions to not only add time back into your life, but take that time and use it for good and make positive decisions. And now you're becoming the person that you want to become. So this is a big, giant pat on my back. But the reason why I cover this with you is because whatever spot that you're in right now, you want to gravitate towards doing something greater. You can do that by making some of the same changes that I've done. And imagine what happens over the next 5 years, over the next 10 years. This stuff compounds on itself, and that's what makes it really exciting. So hope you can take away some great nuggets here. I would love if everybody kind of reaches their goals and really makes those conscious decisions to get to where they want to be at. And I wish you guys all the best of luck as you do it. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We'll see you.